Do you remember when they did that cool thing last year where they said, hey, any fighter from ARMS could be in Smash? I've been thinking, what if they did that again, but this time with a fighter that wasn't incredibly degenerate and lame? I quickly hopped on that thought train and I realized that you just can't do that with most games. I mean, the fighter they'd pick was just way too obvious for most of them. Tomb Raider, Lara Croft. Devil May Cry, Dante. Halo, Master Chief. Crash Bandicoot, Aku Aku, duh. Upon really thinking about what game could do what ARMS did, I realized it was only games with massive playable rosters. League of Legends, Tekken, Paladins, Smash Bros. But then I got to my personal favorite game of them all with a roster of 32 playable heroes currently, Overwatch. But then I realized, well, Overwatch's was pretty obvious as well, with Tracer being the face of the game in every single way possible. But hey, it got me thinking about what Tracer could look like if she were to get into Smash, so let's talk about that anyways. Looking at it, Overwatch and Smash surprisingly have a lot of content that can be transferred between the two. Overwatch's emotes would make for good taunts, its highlight intros would make for great victory screens, its skins would make for good alternate costumes, and its heroes would make for good fighters. Well, most of them, anyway. With all of the little bits of fluff out of the way, let's talk about the real good stuff, the moveset. Tracer in Overwatch performs as a bit of a flanking burst fire glass cannon. She's tied with Genji for the fastest character in the game, and this combined with the rest of her kit, which is a mix of deadly weapons, movement, and mix-up options, allow her to get in, pick off the target she needs to, and then get out of there before she can get herself killed. Translating this to Smash, we already have a few characters who fit the quick, flashy combat of Tracer. Like Sheik. But Tracer wouldn't be as bad. Editor's note. Why did no one tell me Sheik is good now? Because of this little privilege I like to call third-party DLC. In Smash, Tracer would do most of her work through precise, flashy combos, thanks to the kit Overwatch grants her. But, thanks to the health Overwatch grants her, which is tied with a demeched diva for lowest in the game, Tracer would be extremely easy to KO, making her a very polarizing character that rewards skilled gameplay and strategy with a huge flaw, just as she is in Overwatch. As for individual parts of her moveset, aside from her specials, which we'll get to in a moment, she doesn't have a whole lot to choose from Overwatch itself. I mean, the game doesn't have that many hand-to-hand attacks, so Tracer's aerials, standard, and smash attacks would all be original to Smash, focusing on quick attacks meant to flow into one another to set up combos, usually delivered by Tracer kicking at her foes. Think Bayonetta, but with less ladder combos since Tracer isn't a witch.
Wow! If I had a nickel for every time
Nintendo added a third-party DLC fighter from a company that primarily uses blue in their logo, who is a British woman that can manipulate time while dual-wielding pistols with a female love interest at least implied?
I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice, right?
Now, without further ado, let's get into Tracer's specials. Starting with Tracer's up special, we have Guardian Angel, which is actually not a part of her kit in Overwatch, but instead borrows from another hero's. For Guardian Angel, Tracer is joined briefly by her good friend Mercy, who swoops in using her technological angel wings to lift Tracer onwards and upwards, as she's shown to be able to do throughout Overwatch's lore. During this move, Mercy herself is like Arsene, where she can't be hit with attacks, because Smash, very clearly, abides by the Geneva Convention. However, Tracer can be hit and damaged, and if you hit her with a strong enough attack, she'll lose her grip and fall downwards, going into Special Fall. However, to combat this and protect herself, Tracer can actually use most of her moveset while Mercy has her, so she can throw out aerials and special moves to keep foes from gimping her. Now this move in Overwatch isn't Tracer's, but it felt fitting anyway. Overwatch as a game and story is all about teamwork, so having one of Tracer's allies come to her rescue really doesn't feel that far-fetched. That, and the alternative was just a blink with an upwards arc, which felt, well, lame in comparison. Next up, we have Tracer's neutral special, the Pulse Pistols. Tracer's Pulse Pistols are her signature weapon, and they're actually a surprisingly fatal tool in Overwatch, that is. In Smash, they have a lot in common with Fox's Blaster, with them not dealing any hit stun or knockback, but trading that off with damage that can start to rack up. The key difference though is that Tracer's Pulse Pistols have a spread to them, meaning the further a foe is from her, the less damage they're going to do to them. So you'll want to use this move up close for maximum effect. To make up for this though, Tracer is able to use the pulse pistols without impeding her movement at all, meaning she can mix it into her combos for a little bit of extra damage here or there. In Overwatch, the pulse pistols have to be reloaded, but in Smash, that's just a bit more of a hassle than it's worth, given how they'd be much less effective comparatively. So she can just fire them off indefinitely to make up for it. Tracer's side special is her iconic ability, Blink. Blink has Tracer accelerate her time to move forward a fair distance in the blink of an eye. Crazy how 2 movesets in a row of mine have these types of moves, huh? Go watch my Zagreus video. This is not a suggestion, it is a threat. Blink doesn't deal any damage to foes Tracer zips past, but that's not what Blink's for anyways. It's for movement and mixing up your opponent to keep them on their toes. This is where we get to the really tricky part of Tracer's moveset though. Resource management isn't a new concept to Smash, with characters like Robin and Hero both having it, so now we're just going to apply it to Tracer, albeit in a fairly different way. Overwatch is full of resource management between hero abilities, reload times, and ultimates, so it feels right to bring that to Smash with Tracer. Blink is a resource that must be managed, as Tracer only has 3 of them at any given time. She starts the match with all 3, which recharge after use at a rate of 3 seconds per blink. If this number is too high for Smash, it could be changed to be shorter, but I'm just ripping the cooldown values from Overwatch for the sake of this video. The amount of blinks Tracer has and the recharge rate of them are both tracked on her character portrait in this handy little icon, with each arrow of it slowly filling up visually to represent the cooldown. And finally, we come to the last part of her special moves, the down special, which is Tracer's other ability, Recall. Recall is a simple yet difficult move to follow if you're not paying attention, as it has Tracer rewind to wherever she was 3 seconds ago. Recall will mostly be used for combo setups, mix-ups, and as an escape option if she's caught in a bad position. However, just like the Blinks, Tracer has a cooldown for Recall, though unlike Blink, she only has 1 use at a time. The cooldown is 12 seconds, though again this number can be adjusted for balancing. In Overwatch, when Tracer recalls, her health will be restored to whatever it was 3 seconds ago as long as that number was higher than her current health. But we'll be doing away with that in Smash just because it's a bit much for one move to do. Just like Blink, Recall and its cooldown timer will be tracked on the character portrait, with the arrow representing it filling up to show its progress. When it's full, it's ready to go. Remember how earlier I said Tracer would be a third-party DLC character? Haha, yeah, about that. She has a meter, which is tracked on her character portrait. The meter builds up based on a percentage, and when it reaches 100%, Tracer gets access to a new attack, her Pulse Bomb. The Pulse Bomb in Overwatch is her ultimate ability, which is usually the strongest ability in a hero's kit. While most of Overwatch's ultimate abilities, like Hanzo's Dragon Strike or McCree's Deadeye, would make for good final smashes, Tracer's is purposely not that flashy, as it's quick and to the point, making it a bad candidate for a final smash. Thus, we give Tracer her very own meter, the ultimate meter. Tracer builds her ult charge solely by dealing damage and taking stocks, so this is not an inherent comeback mechanic, but rather a reward for her doing well. When the meter reaches 100%, Tracer tosses her Pulse Bomb in front of her in a very short arc, where it then sticks to whatever surface or foe it lands on, before blowing up for a fair amount of damage the closer you are to it. Translating this to Smash, we have easily Tracer's most fatal move, as it does the most amount of raw damage out of any move in her kit. Though, be warned, Tracer can also hurt herself with this, so you can use it against her if she sticks you with it. Oh, and while Tracer has the Pulse Bomb, it replaces her pistols, so she can't spam you with damage until she tosses the bomb. Tracer will not lose her ultimate even if she loses her stock, though this could easily be tweaked for balance. And as a final fun note on Pulse Bomb, one of her taunts is actually changed while her ultimate is fully charged, to incorporate the Pulse Bomb instead of her Pulse Pistols. But if Pulse Bomb isn't Tracer's final smash, what is? Well, for Tracer's final smash, we come back to the concept of teamwork for the Strike Team. For this final smash, Tracer calls out to her good ape scientist friend, Winston, who leaps onto the stage in front of her. Any foes hit by the landing monkey are brought into a cutscene, where they are surrounded by Tracer, Winston, Mercy, and Genji. The Strike Team begin unloading on their enemies, with Tracer firing her pulse pistols, Genji throwing his shurikens, Winston electrocuting the enemies with his Tesla cannon, and Mercy damage boosting each of them. The final smash then concludes with Winston going into a rage before delivering a massive primal punch into the pile of foes to launch them into the distance. As a fun little Easter egg, the final smash changes minorly based on what alternate costume you're using. If you're using an alt based on Tracer's original design, Mercy, Winston, and Genji will match her, while if you use her Overwatch 2 design, the others will follow suit. With the moveset out of the way, we come now to Tracer's stage, King's Row. King's Row is a pretty important area in the lore of Overwatch, as well as being one of the oldest maps in the game. King's Row is Tracer's home, where she lives with her girlfriend Emily, and it's also the site of Tracer's very first mission as a part of an Overwatch strike team, the King's Row Uprising, where Tracer, Reinhardt, Torbjorn, and Mercy all fought off Omnic extremists to save the people of London. In Smash, King's Row is fairly simple, yet unique in its layout. It's a walk-off stage, starting at the first capture point of King's Row, where a big battery-looking payload exits a garage. The camera then locks onto the payload of the map and follows it along its path, winding through the streets of London until it ends in the power plant at the end of the map's track. The fun thing about the payload is that it won't move unless a fighter is either on it or directly next to it, mirroring how it functions in Overwatch. Also, it will heal you for a small percent while you're moving it to incentivize you to actually push the payload. Once it's reached its final destination, it will explode, sending fighters skyward in a cloud of dust like in the Castle Siege stage, before the fighters land back at the beginning of the stage to do it all over again. In the background of King's Row, you'll see numerous heroes from Overwatch cameo like on the King of Fighters Stadium stage. They'll be randomly selected, but all 32 currently playable heroes will be present here, excluding Tracer for obvious reasons. To close it all off, we have the last bit of content challenger packs usually see, starting with the music and spirits. As ever, I've assembled a full spirit board, so feel free to pause the video and check that out if you want to give it a closer examination, and a good list of music from Overwatch that I think would be suitable to be put into Smash Bros. For me, costumes, because I always forget those, we have a good few contenders. Genji would make for a good sword fighter, Bastion in his sentry form would make for a good gunner, and, of course, Doomfist would make for a good brawler, although you could stretch a bit more into Blizzard's other franchises for a Lich King sword fighter or a Raynor gunner. For her classic route, we have Cheers Love, the Cavalry's here, which has Tracer act as the cavalry to the different protagonists to Smash to help them defeat their villains, ending with her joining a Belmont to fight Dracula. But that's all I have for this episode. If you liked it, make sure to gently remind the like button that rent is due for the third time this week, and click the subscribe button with the funny little bell icon just to make sure you catch any of my uploads. Granted, I actually upload. With that, I, oh so generic, bid you adieu.
No.